Go.
Hey, this is Noah.
Hey, this is Rob.
In this video, we're giving you a weekly mortgage and real estate update so you're informed about what's happening in those worlds.
And we're going to cover 3 topics in 10 minutes. What's happening with rates, what's happening in real estate, and what are some opportunities that we're seeing in today's market. I'll talk a little bit about interest rates for a second. So everyone believes interest rates have come down significantly, and they have come down a little bit. If you typically have a loan amount of 5, 10 or less, rates have come down. They're screaming low. You can get, somewhere between 3 to 3.25, almost at no cost. Amazing opportunity. If you're above that, rates have actually increased. And here's kind of what happened. Federal Reserve lowered interest rates, right? So they lowered rates from 1/2 and then they dropped them down to 0. When they dropped them down to 0, all the banks in the United States got flooded with the amount of business they couldn't handle it. So they all had to increase their interest rates. That's starting to settle down. The dust is settling, so to speak. And we think that interest rates will come down, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, especially as the financial markets get comfortable with what's going on in the world. One of the things we recommend is if you are looking to refinance, one of the things you definitely should do is get in what they call a ready position. That means get all your stuff to the loan officer or the bank you like working with or the broker you like working with, and get all your stuff in so when rates do drop, you can jump on the opportunity. Because what's going to happen is everybody's going to refinance, start locking loans, and the banks are going to do the exact same thing again. They're going to put things on hold. They're going to have to close that business out, and then you're going to be waiting again. So get yourself in ready position. Because again, I think rates will go lower. What's going on with the real estate? Do you have a question? What?
Well, I was just going to say, what Rob's saying to you guys out there is send in your information to Rob. I'm teasing.
Sure. You can send it to Rob.
And the reason I say that is because I know, having worked with you many times, how good you are at what you do. And I really do, seeing how many clients I have that have missed the last wave of the refi, that in all seriousness, getting your information into someone like Rob and his team, or if you have a mortgage person, so that they can, be ready to lock you, when rates do go down, is a really important piece.
Totally agree. Totally.
And be a little playful.
Yeah, I appreciate the plug. That's nice of you.
Totally, man. Absolutely.
So what's happening in real estate, buddy?
So it's been a wild ride, really, over the last month. A high level in the Bay Area, things are actually still pretty stable. It's the market's continuing to remain fairly strong, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First is inventory has been low, really significantly low, even before this virus situation happened. And since the virus happened, some of the sellers that were planning on selling, and even some that had listings on the market, decided to hit pause and wait. Right. And so we have some buyers that have paused, some sellers that have hit pause on an already low inventory market. With that said, purchases and sales are happening within the confines of very safe guidelines to make sure that no one's spreading this virus. But real estate is continuing to happen, and I think buyers out there that are ready are getting an opportunity to buy with less competition and with significant, with low rates. So there's definitely opportunities out there.
Yeah, I've seen that too. The ones that have been dependent on the stock market to buy are really on hold because, a lot of us are on hold right now. Dow's pushing 23, 24. It's actually kind of amazing. It's at 23 or 24 with what's going on in the world. But they're still on hold because consumer confidence has to increase before they buy. But the first-time buyer that has their money in a checking account or a savings account, or was fortunate enough to sell some stock before this all happened, it's a pretty interesting opportunity out there, right? Because they're not having to compete against these other buyers. Everybody's kind of on hold waiting for a shelter in place to get lifted, which we don't know when it's going to happen. It looks like it might even get extended further. Yeah. And so, there's properties on the market that aren't getting any attention, and these sellers are, in many cases, are pretty motivated to sell. So you're a first-time buyer, it's something you might want to jump on, which kind of brings us on to the last point, opportunities. You want to say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, my sense is actually these two kind of fit together is like, you were talking about the refinance being in ready position and the potential benefit of people doing that. Well, I think the same goes for first time buyers and making sure that, one, if you're a first time buyer and you've already been in the market and you have a steady job and you have the assets to, make your down payment, which reality is there's some options for low.
Yeah, there's FHA. It's crazy, Noah. VA. I'm a vet. I've never used a VA loan ever. VA financing will let you buy up to $2 million in price at zero down. It's amazing. It's amazing. Huge, yeah. $2 million at zero down. It's unheard of. If I didn't own a house, I'd use a VA loan right now, for sure.
That's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
For vets and. Yeah, and so I mean, I think with having the ability to have low rates, especially once more inventory comes on the market.
Exactly.
My sense is there is going to be more opportunity, and you never know where this market's going to head. But I've been looking at data from the past and other colleagues, and there was a fellow realtor of mine that did a presentation I watched recently, and he showed how in 2000 and in 2008. When the dot-com burst happened and the mortgage crisis happened in the Bay Area, the real estate market took significantly less loss compared to the stock market and compared to pretty much everywhere else in terms of real estate. And so, I think it's understandable for buyers to have concerns, but I think for the buyers that are in a good position with solid jobs, I think there's going to be opportunities coming to the horizon.
Well, I remember that seminar you and I did up in the city a couple months ago, and you had this pretty cool graph where you're showing the history of real estate over time. So we're kind of like, let's see, make sure it's going the right way. Zoom reverses everything. So basically, you're going. It was kind of amazing, right? When you look back at where real estate was in the 90s, and then the 2000s, and then 2014, 15, 16, on the way up, it's just been incredible. I mean, if you're a first-time buyer and you're buying a house, let's say you're in your 30s, based on history tends to repeat itself, especially when it comes to real estate and investments. Whether you're buying now or in a year or whatever, but whatever really makes sense. If you're buying, you hold on to that property for 20 years. It's incredible the amount of wealth and appreciation you see.
Absolutely.
And so it's just, again, supply and demand right now. Demand isn't that high right now because of what's happening in the world, because of consumer confidence. People have uncertainty of what's going on. The ones that I don't want to say, take advantage, but the ones that take a little risk and, call it calculated risk are usually the ones that prevail long term. So, the whole idea is you buy low, sell high, but if you're renting right now, you're paying an enormous amount of rent. With interest rates being where they're at, where appreciation is, throw in the tax benefits, buying does make a lot of sense, as it has for a lot of people. So,
no, I think those are great points. And I mean, it's interesting as like the Fed is printing money. The real estate market, there's a finite amount of land, and you can't build in the same way. So, I mean, my sense is even if there's still uncertainties in the economy and with the stock market, real estate is probably the most tangible, safe place to put money in, especially if you're looking longer term.
Yeah, real estate, it's interesting. Like all the classes I've taken, all the things that I've studied over the years, is the Bay Area is the perfect real estate model, right? You have lack of land, high job growth, high population. You got the VC. You got high tech, you got the biotech, you got all the support services, all these schools that are local. I mean, this is where business is done in the world. And, real estate tends to outperform pretty much every place in the world now. Yes, it's expensive, but it's expensive for a reason. It's expensive because it has a foundation that keeps the price propped up. It's not like buying a property in Kansas. Buy a property in Kansas, 10 years later, it's worth the same amount of money. Here, your investment goes up in price. So
It's a really good points.
yeah. Well, yeah, that pretty much covers it. Hopefully we're at 10 minutes. I don't know, close to it.
Well, if we're a little over next week, we will tighten it up and stick to our 10 minutes. But thank you for joining us. And Rob and I are excited to provide these on a weekly basis. Rob, I always appreciate you. And just on that note, if someone wanted to get in touch with you about refinancing or getting pre-approved, what's the best way for them?
The best way is just go to my website. It's 101loan.com. So obviously www.101loan.com. And what about for you, Noah?
My website, noahmanning.com.
Awesome.
And, send me a text, shoot me an email, give me a call. Happy to talk with you. And
sounds good. And I'm going to ask you a quick novice thing, right? Because this whole Zoom world is new to me. Do I hit the stop video button here down at the bottom to stop
that's
all right,
the
everybody.
Ticket, man.
All right, don't make fun of me, okay? Have a great day. See ya.
It's good to see you, Rob. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, stop video. Oh, maybe not. Hold on.